Yo, what up, street gods? Eric Kim. All right, Turbo Thought. Muji vests are the future. Okay, so anyways, some quick turbo thoughts. This one is on the new. So how to think new, how to become new, etc. So what is it that the world lacks? I think what the world lacks is actually independent critical thinkers. Truth be told, I don't think I've ever met anybody who's a truly critical or independent thinker. Maybe kids before they enter first grade, like my niece Amelia. I think before she entered first grade, she was an independent thinker. Now she's just kind of too easily influenced by, silly memes. Like, for example, so my niece Amelia, before she entered the first grade, she loved wearing these like red sweatpants. It's like so cute, right? And she's like, but then once she went to school, first grade, she's like, I don't want to wear this anymore. And then, she got those like silly, those, all the girls wear these shorts with like glittery stuff on it. And so the pressures of K through 12 education society are quite real. And I think independent thinking is a combination of having parents who encourage this, also teachers. Shout out to my friend Tim Flanagan. And your culture. I mean, America's not perfect, but it's probably the best country in the world, I think, for that culture's creative or independent thinking, even though, once again, America creates kind of like a drone-like thinking as well. And I think it just comes down to courage. So how do you know whether you should trust somebody or not? So, for example, I've never met nobody in America, whether it be tenured professor or Ivy League professor or academic scholar, whatever, who is a truly independent thinker. Some heuristics, rules of thought, or rules of thumb. If somebody ever quotes Heidegger or these other rando, like, Michel Foucault, it's like everyone thinks that Michel Foucault is a girl, right? Or these constipated French philosophers, thinkers, any philosopher in the last 200 years, never trust nobody who quotes somebody and talks about the panopticon or something like that, because what a lot of these academics lack is courage to base their own opinion on their own 2 feet, rather than quoting statistics or statistics. I study sociology. Statistics can and are gamed all the time, or quoting fancy philosophers from the past. And my theory about a lot of these, like even these kind of these like Foucault or other philosophers, right, Heidegger, is they themselves, highly intelligent philosophical people, but maybe the reason why they made their thoughts so abstruse, convoluted, maybe, I don't know, maybe a render is better in French, I don't know how to write French, but they were afraid of being criticized or critiqued by their peers or whatever, so they tried to make their thoughts as convoluted, abstruse, and like unnecessarily complex as possible, in order to not have any chinks in their armor to protect themselves. And actually, the real critical thinkers have strong clarity of thought. Another pro tip too: whenever you go to the book library, like Barnes & Noble, whatever, the thicker and the bigger and the longer the book, the more pages it has, the worse. The more chapters it has, the worse. People are very basic. They tend to think that, oh, big ass book means big ass intelligence or big ass meaning. But in fact, in actuality, the fact of the matter is, the bigger the book, the thicker it is, the more pages, is actually a sign of, I call it discriticality, is that they're not critical thinkers. Because the more critical, the better thinker you're. Your thoughts should actually be pretty short, right? Like to distill a thought down to its core essence is actually it's actually quite difficult. And so, this is why I like the power of an aphorism. Aphorism is kind of like a pithy saying, or like, Heraclitus, everything flows, right? Everything is flux. So to take a complex idea and thought philosophically and to distill it, it actually takes, A, a long time, and B, some acts of courage. And, I think a lot of it is via negativa, by the negative. So to cut out, so this is my funny thought, right? So the news, social media, like, pro tip, if you want to start becoming more of an independent thinker, uninstall Twitter, uninstall Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, podcasts, uninstall all of it. Even like a big tip too is stop reading books too. Like, even though reading books is good, like it actually does prevent you from thinking your own independent thought. Like, for me, the biggest benefit of reading books in the past is that it gave me courage to think my own thoughts. And even it don't matter who you are, right? As long as you're like, an adult over the age of 12 years old, you've probably had enough life experiences where you could actually intelligently talk about your own thoughts, right? I met a 11-year-old kid the other day. I'm like, dude, 11-year-old kids are pretty big in advance. I mean, like I remember when I was 12, right? Anyways, so the thing with the news and politics, right? So this is my analogy. So exposing yourself to news or news headline stuff, I hate it because it's almost like feces, right? Like, nobody wants feces on their face, right? Like, if you're constantly checking the news and stuff like that, or turn on the TV, it's like grabbing a hose that's shooting feces and just like putting it into your mouth. You're like, oh, I hate it, but I love it. I can't stop doing it. Or it's kind of like, imagine if you had two girls, one cup playing on your laptop on loop, and then your eyes are forced open. You just gotta keep watching it. You can't stop watching it. So anyways, I think our thoughts are actually very sensitive. Stop watching TV shows, movies, stuff like that. I think the only good movies I've ever watched include the movie 300. Like, this is Sparta. Good morning. The Matrix, John Wick. That might be it. Oh, Fight Club. Fight Club's pretty good. The only good movies that I've watched are the ones that encourage courage. The word encourage and courage actually means heart. So anything that gives you a heart, or more like chutzpah or balls, my favorite Yiddish word, is good. And also, it's good to kind of like not be so scared, right? But even a thought I had too, right? Like, I guess it's a good thing about being Asian American and stuff like that in America. Like, like a funny thought I had back in Providence. Yep. So even a funny random thought that I had, back in Providence, I'm like, it's like, you want to ask somebody an uncomfortable question. This is a whole when BLM movement was happening and stuff like that. It's like, just ask somebody, right? Or ask one of your Jewish friends, like, are Jewish people white? And just see what the response is. And also like, it's so funny because we could talk about all these politics and racial matters, but like, anytime you talk about like, something that's like quote unquote anti-Semitic, it tends to raise red flags. But anyways, I think essentially, don't be scared to open up red topics, inquire for yourself, study the past, and don't be scared.